St. Paul says to the Philippians, I have learned the secret of being well-fed and of going hungry, of living in abundance and being in need. I can do all things in him who strengthens me. He has learned the secret of being content in all circumstances. It would be one thing for St. Paul to say that he has learned to be content even when things are going poorly. But he also mentions living in abundance. Why would he do that? Why would he speak about the need to be content? You'd think you'd be already content when you have abundance and when things are going well. Well, in the Old Testament, the people of God, over and over again, there's a pattern. They cry out to him for help when they're struggling, like in the desert, and they're hungry and they're thirsty. And then when God provides and things are going well and they have abundance, inevitably they forget about God, they forget to pray, they forget to worship him, to follow his commands. And then the prophets tell them, you need to get back on track here, because there is a spiritual danger in abundance. There is a danger when things are going well. It's not bad, but there is a danger. There can be a false sense of security in those created things, in those things in our lives that appear to be going well, because all of these things can disappear rapidly. The secret St. Paul is talking about is an interior detachment from created things, a contentment in Christ. I think it's safe to say that we all have peaks and valleys in our lives, ups and downs. It can sound like a platitude, especially when we're in the downs or in the valleys, but it's true. There may be times of economic security, material wealth, accolades, enjoying a good reputation, honors, surplus, health, good health, lots of support, loved ones are doing well, happy, etc. There's also times of hunger, perhaps not so much in our culture. I think or want in some way, need in some way, grief. We lose a loved one. There's maybe some opposition, or our reputation is damaged. And Paul's secret to peace and contentment deep down, while these things may rattle us, or we still feel, and we can enjoy the abundance, we can enjoy the good times, and we still feel the bad times. Deep down, there's this peace in both circumstances. I can do all things in him who strengthens me. Staying rooted in Christ. Now that passage, and it's often memorized and recited, but we do have to remember the context of it and what it means. He's not saying that we can do whatever we want. I can do all things. Or is he saying that he's not saying there's no limit to what I can do? In the city of Philippi, they're facing opposition. The so-called Judaizers, they are Christians who are saying that believers in Christ need to follow, they need to have circumcision, and they need to follow all the Jewish laws. And they are giving opposition to the believers, and that they have to do these things in order to be saved, for salvation. And they've confused the believers in Christ. And it's a prominent city. There's wealthy people there, noble people among the believers. And they're facing this opposition. And it means that St. Paul is saying that as long as I remain in communion with Christ and abide in him, continue praying, receiving the sacraments. It can be hard. I know I've experienced this myself in times of ill health, or if I'm going through some kind of opposition. It's difficult to pray. And there can be a temptation to just not pray at all, and try to handle things or just endure things myself. But we can pray differently. We can tell the Lord what's happening and going on and receive differently from the Lord. St. Ignatius of Loyola speaks in different terms of this principle, consolation and desolation. And in either one, he says, be indifferent, have indifference, not caring about these things, but having this interior detachment from created things. Because only in that peace can we remain content. And we'll lose that peace as soon as we lose the created goods, or they're gone and they're threatened by, they're threatening taking those away from us. So he's reflecting the same spiritual principle that St. Paul talks about, but in different words. The other thing is we don't gain this detachment on our own. It doesn't come naturally to us. We have to ask for it, and we have to remain in Christ. He says, I can do all things in Christ, not through Christ. In the Gospel of John, when Jesus talks about the church and the vine, he says, apart from me, you can do nothing. So we need Christ even to have this detachment. So whatever circumstances you find yourself, in time of great promise and hope, or in want in some way, we ask the Lord for this detachment from created things, this deep inner peace, and we remain connected to Christ, the one who became poor for our sake.